Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 3rd, Manna Gatherers, and I have a confession to make. I failed to mention yesterday a very, very important happening of March 2nd. Yesterday, March 2nd, among all the other happenings of history that I listed for you, my brother's birthday, Texas Independence Day, and Dr. Seuss's birthday, I failed to remind you that it was on March 2nd, 230 years ago, that our beloved John Wesley died, took his last breath, and went on to the church triumphant. Please forgive me and extend the same grace that John Wesley preached during his 87 years of life to me for my failure to all have a moment of silence for our father of the Methodist movement. Initially, I beat myself up for failing to commemorate such a mournful day. This world lost a great man of faith. But then I remembered that John Wesley himself did not commemorate the death of his very own wife, Molly Vazel, in any of his journals, nor did he attend her burial. So that brought me a little comfort because he and I, John and I, therefore are even more alike in this way. All right, so that is my moment. Redeemed. Let us move on to our scripture for today, this week, which comes to us from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek God's will in all you do, and God will show you which path to take. So John Wesley said, "Bring me a worm that can comprehend man, and I will show you a man that can comprehend the triune God." I was thinking about John's words this morning when I got to church. It had just finished pouring down rain, and when there is a hard rain, worms cover the church parking lot. I mean, it is like a worm graveyard out there. And this morning, I collected about, can you see them? 25 of these washed out parking lot worms for the boys and I to feed to the chickens after school. Fun after school activity with mom and the boys. So I don't know if you can see them, but I took a cup of dirt and I put some worms in there, and they're nice and happy down there until they meet the chickens this afternoon. Anyhow, this quote from John Wesley came to my mind, and it works with our scripture text. Bring me a worm that can understand, that can comprehend a man. That's just ludicrous, right? Ridiculous. What worm can possibly understand humanity? And then I will show you a person, a human, that can comprehend and that can understand our triune God. It's a beautiful image, right? To even begin to comprehend or to understand God, we must include God in our comprehension and our understanding, not relying on ourselves or what we think we know, or even just relying on others to do the hard work of understanding God for us. And it is, and should be at times, hard work trying to understand God. Not all the time, but when we are exploring new understanding and growing in our relationship with God, then sometimes it is hard work. Hard work if we really give our minds and our hearts fully over to God to take us deeper in our comprehension and our understandings. Sometimes to me, when I'm at this point of trying to understand God in a new way, it feels like mental and spiritual gymnastics, trying to bend and flip and flex and stretch to understand, especially as I have said, as new understanding of God emerges. Like on Monday, I listened to a podcast episode on Hidden Brain, one of my favorite podcasts, Hidden Brain. If you have an HIDDEN Brain, BRAIN, check it out. Trying to understand religion from a Darwinian perspective. This was the episode on Hidden Brain on Monday. And wow, that episode really challenged me, pushed me to think in new ways that I've never thought before, and I learned a lot. And I have been sitting with new and somewhat uncomfortable ideas that have completely challenged my old ways of thinking. But they are starting to give me a new and deeper and broader, and I would say even a more beautiful understanding of God. So here is one thing I took away from that Hidden Brain episode on religion and a Darwinian perspective, that pertains to this week's scripture text in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. We humans are changing and evolving and growing and learning creatures. True? Yes. And therefore, so is our understanding and therefore our relationship with God. Our understanding and relationship with God, it is not static, but expanding and growing and changing in the very same way that our relationship and understanding of our children, of our spouses, or friends changes, evolves, and grows with time. And that is a wonderful and beautiful thing. To me, it says that God meets us where we are. And I am not the same woman I was at 15 or 20 or 25 or 30 or even just last year at 35. And so my understanding of God has changed and grown with each passing year. And while new, growing, and expanding understanding of God is hard at times and uncomfortable and steps all over my toes at times, it doesn't challenge my belief that there is a God, because this God is with me in those uncomfortable and uncharted areas of trying to wrap my mind and heart around understanding this mysterious God. Sometimes I think that Christians don't go into uncharted areas with their hearts and minds because they feel like it is being an unfaithful follower of God, or that it may challenge their belief in God. It might, but not if you invite God to be a part of the process and a part of the growing and a part of your new understanding. I guess this brings me back to Monday's lesson on trust. I feel like I can explore those areas where I do not understand God or venture into new understanding of God because I trust that God is God and God will always be God. And I am not. I am not God. And I trust that God is truly guiding my path. My whole trust is in God in helping me grow in my understanding. So here's my encouragement for you. Lean into those areas of our faith where you have questions, where you have doubts, where you don't understand, knowing that God is with you through it all and will guide your path the more you seek. I will see you tomorrow on Thursday, Manna Gatherers.